Squeegee and Ink Podcast, episode 20, with Michael from Evil Band Merch. Hello.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes. Hey.
Hello there.
Are you comfy? You look like you're standing up.
I am standing up, but as a printer, I stand up for 16 hours a day. Oh, how's that do? Go. How we doing?
Thank you. Yeah, I was really intrigued to get you on because, you did that Facebook post about starting again, and I just really thought you'd be an awesome guest for us.
Yeah, it's had its ups and downs over the past 2 months or so, but I'm getting there. So,
do you want to kick off by saying who you are and what your new studio is called and that type of thing? Well, I know it's not new, but we'll get into that, I suppose.
My name's Michael. I've run a studio called Evil Band Merch. I say a studio, it's just it's my company. Started printing, it's been 1997, so but I haven't been running the band merch thing that long. Well, I think I've been doing the band merch for about 15 years. Which started off in a bedroom, and from that, what I've got at the moment, which is not a bedroom.
So you've run automatic presses.
I've worked for numerous bigger companies, running autos, MHMs, M&Rs, and I've gone back to slogging it out on a manual, which is not the greatest.
So what are the kind of, I know the main advantages of using an auto, but are there any advantages of going back to a manual that you can see?
Absolutely none.
None.
Absolutely none. Where using an auto, I could do a job in 15-20 minutes for 100 shirts. It's now taking me 3 hours ish to do the same amount of work. It's especially with having to flash everything, and it's just
So someone with your experience in the industry, what kind of kit did you choose for yourself this time around?
Well, it happened upon that a friend of mine that I used to work with had a manual that he got off a company that we work together with in. He got given a Hopkins press, and I got chatting to him when I was looking to set up this studio, and he sold me that press for 100 quid.
What? Nice. Treats.
Unfortunately, it was missing lots of parts when I got it off him. So it didn't have any bearings in it. It didn't have any bolts to put the clamp arms back on, anything like that. So, another 100 quid, and it was up and running. So 200 quid and sorted.
Brilliant. I suppose just having that little bit of knowledge about what is missing helped you get a real bargain for it.
This actual press was the second press I ever printed on. The first press that I used was I think it must have came from Wicked Screen Print or something like that, and it was already 15-20 years old when I got a hold of it. It was an absolute beast. Adjustable by spanner and ratchet socket, and it was a bit of a nightmare. This is a little bit of an upgrade from that, but it's definitely a downgrade from running M&Rs and whatnot.
So what do you think are the things that make a good print? Because if you're doing it manually, how do you get it to the same quality standards that you used to get it to on the auto? What kind of things can people do?
I actually I would actually say that print quality is just as good on a manual as it is on an auto.
Okay.
But it's all down to what mesh count you're using, and you know, and how you set the jobs up, as opposed to.
Yeah.
I know some local printers around here that have can print on a manual, and the work is it's atrocious. So,
So you think it's the person, not the kit?
it probably is. It's got to be down to inexperience. A lot of people put a screen on a machine and they'll start printing and they think it looks great, but then I've got stupid standards, so I print a lot of stuff. Yeah, I print a lot of stuff like that goes retail as well. Okay. So doing that on the manual, once again, it's a bit of a chore, but I'm still getting it the very nice quality. But say it's all down to you, just the mesh counts that I'm using. And
do you think people are scared to use like the high mesh counts? Because I saw on your website you've got you had some examples, and one of them was like using 120T. So like, I would imagine a lot of people would be worried about using something that fine. But
yeah, that job that you're on about, that was set up using the M&RI image that we used to have at one of the factories that I worked in. So the print, the screen quality was already pretty spot on, and then obviously it's the exposure times and getting your halftones to wash out just right. So but I think a lot of people probably wouldn't go as high as a 120. But if you're using an auto, it's that job was actually printed on the auto as well. So it's you can get just super quality out of that. If I was to do the same job again, I don't think I would run it through a 120.
Just because it's physically demanding to get it through, or
completely. All the screens I'm using now, I'm using a 55 for everything I'm doing here, and I can get just enough white through it to make me whites pop, but at the same time I can still get enough detail in it to make it look good, that's right. Just trying to think.
So do you underbase at a lower mesh count and then do your top colors in 55?
No, absolutely everything. Really? Everything I'm printing through here is going through a 55. But once again, it's down to how I'm coating the screens as well. So I'll do a 2 and 2 for me whites, but I'll only do a 1 and 1 for me colors.
That's really interesting. I haven't thought of that before. Like, I don't know. I suppose I've like kept a variable consistent and hadn't thought about. I suppose that makes sense. Like, you're gonna lay down more ink with a thicker coat of emulsion and not relying on the mesh count.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just little things. As I say, it's probably just down to the fact that I've done it for so long now. It's like you pick up these things as you go, and I've worked with quite a few really, really good printers, which has helped me massively.
So I see that you've kind of like, you personally really love music, and is that why you're kind of like honing in on the niche of like the band merch and the slip mats? And
I actually started out. I started out with my own clothing for a skateboard company. I'm a massive skateboarder.
Nice.
Well, I was not. Now I'm 46, so it's it's quite as easy. But yeah, I was started out by printing t-shirts for my clothing company, and it will, you know, I was getting requests off like I'd go quite a lot of gigs, so I'd get requests off people just for t-shirts for the bands, you know. And it's gone from doing that to actually some of the bands I'm printing for now were my favorite bands back in the late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just these are the bands that actually got me into t-shirts in the first place, you know.
That love of merch, and like, did you used to collect them yourselves at gigs?
Yeah. I've got an insane collection of t-shirts. I must be talking at least 1,000. Jesus. At least.
You could do a museum, Michael. That's funny.
Only I've actually just sent a load of t-shirts to an exhibition in Wolverhampton.
Oh, cool.
They're being featured in it's the Black Country Music Museum Festival. I don't know, it's something along the lines, but I think it's called Black Country Beats. It's the Wolverhampton Civic Centre, possibly something like that. And yeah, I've just sent a load of like very rare t-shirts down to them to exhibit in that. So
did you used to get it in the neck for having all these shirts, and now you're like, well, actually they're in a museum, so you get away with it?
Luckily, I've got a very, very understanding wife, and you know, I've basically just got a room in like part of my loft, which is just storage for the band t-shirts. So yeah, but I don't just collect band t-shirts. I collect skateboard t-shirts and just whatever I like, really, you know. And anything that I've printed over the years that looks good, I've made its way into my collection. So. Yeah.
Are you gonna like have them on the walls like some studios do, or like how you present them to your customers?
I've got a few. I don't know if we can. Let's see if I can. These are just a few that I've done on the wall over the past couple of days.
Couple of days.
Yeah. Well, you can see them.
Yeah, and you've got your slip mat on the side. Is that right? Is it the slip mat on the right hand side?
No, I've got a BMX hanging up there.
Oh yeah, sorry. I thought it was like a circle, but I wanted to.
I don't know.
Yeah, wicked.
So, yeah, you know, like Sultans of Ping FC were one of my favorite bands in the 90s, and they've just started getting new merch done again. So
cool. You're the man for it. I wanted to ask you like a geeky technical question about printing onto slip mats, because I've seen you've done it. Like, do you have any advice for doing it? Like, because it looks like a crazy absorbent material.
It's not. It's just polyester. So,
all right. Okay.
But I try to stay away from printing black ones, the black slip mats, because it's a bit of a nightmare. Okay. Because you can't really flash them.
Because they melt.
They melt very, very quickly. They melt.
So you got to print them wet on wet, or how are you doing?
Yeah, printing them wet on wet. Try to do as maybe it's like 4 colors max.
Yeah. You're doing some serious detail on them, aren't you?
Well, yeah, it's all right. It's not as hard as you'd think. It's no different printing a t-shirt, to be honest.
Okay, I'll try.
You've just got to wipe your screens down. Obviously, there's the little hole in the center hole can build up with a bit of ink, but you know, just try and wipe your screen down every so often to clean.
So do you just do like plaster ink on it?
Yeah.
Yeah. But
reduce it a lot. Just reduce it as much as possible. Okay. If you use thick plaster solid, it starts to fibrillate quite a lot.
Yeah.
Just looks dreadful. But yeah, if you just water it down, I say water it down.
Yeah.
You know, if you reduce it down, it's pretty cool.
Do you think people aren't doing things like that enough, like working the ink and adding reducers and additives and like flex additives and things? They're just trying to have it straight out the pot.
I don't know. If I'm honest, I know my processes and how I do things, but I'm not sure how other shops are doing them. You know, obviously, if I can help anybody with any advice, you know, I'm on quite a few what do you call them?
Facebook forums?
Facebook groups. Yeah. You know, and I quite often just pipe in if somebody's struggling with something, you know, and add a little bit of advice. Whether people listen or not is, you know, it's up to them. But if it's something I've printed before myself and I know how it works, then, you know,
that's really cool.
Hopefully somebody else would take that information on. Like, I know when when I first started, there was nothing. You know, everything I've learned, but when I first started, I had to learn by myself. You know, there was no YouTube channels. So
you could have started the YouTube channel, Michael, and then we could all be learning.
If only I was that forward thinking.
I wanted to like ask about how you're setting up like the business. Are you gonna like run it on your own for a bit, or have you already got a team? Or
I'm just running it on my own. I could probably do with a bit of help, but at the moment it's just me. And
do you find you want to be on the press, or would you want help with like the admin and the email side of it? Or?
Oh, I really need help on that side, if I'm honest. Yeah. Since I've started running this place, I've been doing quite a lot of work, way more than I was expected, to be honest.
Oh, cool.
But there's, you know, I've had customers for years, but the word of mouth from them now is spreading around a bit more and getting a lot more work through.
Cool. I saw your slap its. Your slap it. It was like your post, and it was like, share this, and then you can win like a batch of Gildens. I'm sure that was you, isn't it? Yeah.
Unfortunately, there was only 3 people that actually shared it. So.
Right, really. I only saw it today when I was doing my research.
There was as far as I could see, there was only 3 people that would share it. So I've done 20 t-shirts for one of my mates. I was like, I just have them. I was surprised there wasn't any more shares than there was, to be honest.
Yeah, it was a good deal and stuff. Maybe you could try it again now that I don't know. Not sure. Yeah, just if I see it, I'd push it on, but I didn't see it quick enough, I suppose. So like you also do like badges and like all those other complimentary things. Like, do you feel like the badges are just, they're basically like other band merch that you'd get at the gigs, and is that why you're doing
it? The thing with the badges was, as I've gone off on a massive tangent, when I first started out and I was printing the stuff, doing my skateboarding stuff, I actually started doing badges then.
Right.
And I had a company, must have been from about 98 through to about 2002. And all I did was badges. And then I think Awesome Merch got on the scene, or Awesome Badges as they were at the time. And they started trying to undercut us. So I would lower my prices, they would lower their prices again, you know, and it was back and forth that way. And then decided after about 5 years of doing them to just concentrate on screen print. And then they got into screen print. It's like,
yeah.
I don't know.
Are you like geographically close as well? Is that
Well, they're in Leeds.
Yeah.
I'm in Newcastle, so it's not massively far away. But,
Mm.
you know, I've never met them personally. I do know people that have worked for them.
Mm.
A friend of mine who from up here, she went off to university in Leeds, and you know, she got a job working for them. I think she's still there, to be honest.
Yeah, they've got quite a young team. They seem to have, like, everyone seems like
Yeah,
I don't know who they're putting in the front, but I know the sewing department's a bit older, maybe. But
yeah, they've got an embroidery department now, haven't they?
Yeah, all sorts. Well, yeah, you just kind of, but you're bringing it back as a thing, a service that you can do.
Yeah, I've never really stopped doing them, but
Yeah.
you know, it's not something where I used to push them all the time, and I used to go to loads of gigs, and that was my main bread and butter sort of thing, you know. But there's only so many hours a day you can sit at a badge machine pulling back and forwards before it drives you absolutely insane, you know. So yeah, now when I do it, it's, you know, it's just, it's not as, they're not as popular these days.
Oh, right.
It used to be every band would get 100 badges.
When the punks were around, maybe more.
Yeah, a
lot
lot
of those, just all the jackets full of them, didn't they?
Yeah, but it kind of faded off mid 2000s, and yeah, it's
you've let it like have its time.
Let it have its time, yeah. And,
I also saw on your website you're describing like the kind of setup in your business as being like rooted in DIY culture and stuff. So
yeah, totally.
Yeah, and you've also got this emphasis on like helping like smaller bands.
Yeah, so, definitely. Yeah. I try to keep my prices as low as possible. And I do a minimum order of 20 shirts, which helps a lot of bands out. It used to be a couple of years ago, I could knock out 20 t-shirts for a band for 80 quid. Now it's pretty much double that because, well, you know, we all know how prices have skyrocketed over the past at least year, you know.
But you've got to like bulk your prices together, haven't you? Like in these packs or like bundles and things.
I'll do them as a bundle deal rather than you know. Well, saying that it depends on what people want, you know. Not everybody just wants a black t-shirt with a one color print on, which. Well, I'm trying with this place to do more, be more ethical with everything that I do. So I'm trying to do a lot more water-based stuff. I'm trying to be as ethical with the t-shirts that I'm using as possible, you know. So I'm going like full organic with a lot of t-shirts. And,
what kind of ones are you going for?
I'm using a lot of Anthem, a lot of Earth Positives. But yeah, you know, the Anthem ones seem to be the cheapest ethical price point at the moment. Bit more than a Gildan, but you know, they're still for what you're getting and how they're being made. It's probably worth the extra 80 pence a shirt, you know.
I think it is. Are you getting asked for that by your customers, or is it something that you're?
Yeah, I've got a few customers that'll only want ethical and organic shirts. I see a lot of people will just massively bump the prices up on them.
As the ethical ones, they just bump it up.
Yeah, they charge a lot more.
Oh,
But I'm not one of these crazy printers that doubles the price of a shirt when I get it from the wholesale.
yeah, exactly.
Obviously, I add a little bit, but not massively.
Yeah.
I say I try to keep my print prices down as low as possible as well. You know.
Yeah. It probably helps with your bundles so you don't have to do the maths, because you could do the maths like once a month, or like now it's like once a bloody month because they're changing so frequently. But then you're like, like that's what you want to be selling as well, like 50 shirts single color. You know how many of those you can get done in a day, I suppose.
Yeah, sure. But the amount of people that actually contact me and go, "Can I get that deal?" is quite small.
Oh, really? Okay.
Most of it is people are wanting, the ethical shirts, and a lot of people are wanting way more better quality than a standard Gildan heavy, which
Yeah.
is, just fair enough.
Yeah.
I don't mind.
Do you find they're like easier to print on because it's like a smoother surface and makes your prints look better?
They're lovely. Yeah. Quality comes out way better on a smoother shirt. Say that I've been using quite a lot of discharge over the past couple of weeks, and I've been using the Zodiac Aquarius.
Oh, okay. I haven't heard of that.
It's part of the Avian inks.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And their discharge is just, I've never used one like it. It's
really
absolutely insane. Let me just grab a shirt. I don't know how the quality is to see that, but
that's cool print. Nice design.
Yeah. But the actual, it just pops so much compared to any other discharge.
Yeah.
And you can do everything in half the time without the need to be regging in with a underbase and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
It's the Zodiac inks are absolutely fantastic.
Brilliant. I've never looked at them though. That's cool.
Yeah.
Like, how are you finding, like, when we do it, we've got to have like the extractor on, and how are you finding like ventilation wise in there?
I've got me dryers just here, and I've got a big door, so that's on. That's open when I'm printing. But I've just ordered some actual proper piping and venting to fit on there, and I'll be pumping it out through the back of the building rather than out my main door, because I woke up on I was printing all day Sunday, and I woke up on Monday morning with the biggest headache I've ever had. And I'm presuming it's down to the fact that I've got no kind of extraction on there. But at the same time, you don't,
the shirts are nice.
My shirts are nice, and
you can see where our priorities lay.
Rise, everything dries perfectly fine, so I'm happy with that. Yeah.
Like, so is the way that you've set up the shop, like, so you're looking more environmentally friendly and stuff? Like, are there any things that you want to try out that you haven't tried yet? Because it sounds like you've done everything there is in your time in printing.
Yeah, I'd really like to get into silicone inks.
Okay, yeah.
And try them. I'm yet to find anybody in the UK that really stocks them.
Do you think it's because they can't import them because of the chemicals in them, or?
I don't know, and I presume it's not the most ethical of inks, but at the same time, the quality that I've seen with the silicone inks is super good. And a lot of it seems like you don't need to underbase quite a bit of it. Colors seem to be pretty fresh.
In my head, silicone sounds like high build, but am I just being silly? Like, is it about texture, or what's the advantage?
No. the way I see it, the stuff that I've seen that's been printed with silicone is it's very thin.
Oh,
It's
okay.
really, really like, it's a bit, obviously it's a bit rubbery, but at the same time, it's really thin and it's got a really good opacity to it.
Cool. Okay.
Which is kind of why I want to just give it a go, you know.
Yeah.
It might turn out to be absolutely dreadful to be printing on a manual with silicone ink, but you know, you never know until you try.
Yeah. I can't even think, like, is that more plastisol than, like, how would you treat it? Like, just.
I think you treat it more like plastisol than you would a water-based. So yeah, I need to find a supplier of them inks and see what happens.
Yeah. Have you ever done any of the like specialist inks, like the ones that are, I know they're a bit mad and no one actually asks for them, but the ones like touch sensitive, heat sensitive, or like wet reveals, or
what's that? Is it Spfx? Do lots of inks like that. I think that's what they're called. I may be wrong.
Okay.
Sure, it's something like that. And they specialize in that sort of crazy pigments and stuff. So they're monochromatic prints and you know, the I can't remember some of the other names, like phosphorus or something like that. And you know, once you print them and you cannot actually see anything on them, but then you'll go in the daylight, and purple or something, you know. And they do some really good like fluorescent inks as well, and glow in the darks.
Have a good search around their site.
Yeah, just have a quick search for that. They're really good. They're a UK based company as well.
Are there any things that you don't print on anymore because you've had like bad experiences with? Like, do you print on polyester if someone gave you loads of sport shirts or something?
I've never really had any problems with polyester. I used to work for a company that printed all the Nike running vests.
Okay, so you can't mess around with that.
Yeah, exactly. So and they were just using standard plastisol ink on them.
Really?
3 screens, you know, just for the swoosh logo. That's all it was. But it got a bit boring because if you're doing like 60,000 to 100,000 shirts at a time, and there's only so much you can look at a Nike logo for, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, that, you know, never had any issues with migration or anything like that on them. So
yeah,
I've never really shied away from polyester. The only garments that I really dislike doing are the flowy tops.
Right. Yeah.
You know,
like
yeah.
Female cut ones.
Female cut, like razor back, flowy, tri-blend, weird.
Just because you can't get them on the platen, or what's your hate of them?
Just no matter what adhesive you try to keep them stuck down with, they really don't like staying stuck down, and they just move around, and any kind of heat on them and they're kind of burnt to a crisp. And yeah, I tend to stay away from them. If I get anything like that, I'll try to just do it as a flip transfer or something like that.
Yeah, that's a good idea actually. Just move them onto the transfer.
Keep it as a single color if I can. You know, and, yeah, just do it as a flip transfer and heat press them rather than try to screen them, because they are just a pain.
As in, like, make your own plaster transfers in-house. Yeah. Do you ever buy any in for like crazy multicolor stuff on?
No, the most colors I've ever done on one is a 3-color, and then trying to keep registration on that's just a bit of a nightmare. I would like to at some point get into DTF as well. you know, seen some fantastic prints coming off DTF machines.
Yeah. Dave Roper at Screen Print World's got an open house with his DTF.
Oh yeah, I saw that
like
on
the 12th or 13th, I think.
Yeah.
So much better at the Printwear this year. You could have seen like 1,000. Did you go to Printwear?
I didn't know.
No, it's basically DTF land.
Yeah, I'd imagine so. It normally is.
Yeah.
I know all the bigger companies are introducing theirs in the next couple of months, aren't they? So
yeah, exactly.
You get your Epsons and your HPs, and now all jumping on the market.
I heard something else today. It's DTP, as if anyone gives a shit. It's like instead of film, it's paper.
Right.
So it's like, okay, what do you do? Yeah, this seems like
that sounds like 1997 all over again. That
does it?
Yeah, you used to be able to get a paper that you'd run through a laser printer. You'd print everything in negative, and then you would heat press it onto your garment, and then you'd have to wash the paper away.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah.
Wash the paper away, dissolve it somehow.
Pretty much, yeah. You used to have to dissolve the paper and brush it off, and you'd have like millions of little bits of paper all over your t-shirt. Horrible stuff.
And you're like, is this what everyone else is doing, or is this?
Yeah, I couldn't get my head around it. And the quality was absolutely dreadful, to be honest.
Yeah. We gave the transfers back.
I think that was when I first started off. I went to college to learn a bit about screen printing, and that's what they were doing in there with some of the things. No, not for me.
So like what kind of like shop hacks, or I know that's an American term, but like what kind of tips do you have in your studio that you always do that you'd share with a new printer?
I don't know, because everything just seems standard to me.
Yeah, you don't have to have one off the top of your head, but
I really don't think I've got a shop hack. You know, a lot of people say heat your beds up and before you start printing, but I very rarely do that.
You're like no nonsense, aren't you?
yeah, just straight in there. Just put your shirt on, get it printed. That's my hack. Don't worry about all the faffy stuff. Just get in there and get printing.
That's really funny. I like that. So like when you're dealing with like artwork and stuff, like do you have separation software, or are you like sending it out, or are you doing it on Photoshop? Like how do you deal with that?
I'm mainly just dealing with vectors, so I do it all in-house Illustrator.
Yeah.
And if it's not a vector, I will convert it to vector or redraw it.
Really? Yeah.
If it's half tones, then I'll generally just use Photoshop and separate it myself. But yeah, I'd say around about 95% of it myself. And I have, through other places where I've worked, I know quite a few graphic team members that can sort us out if I get stuck.
Nice. So like you literally like go around and trace it yourself. I mean, redraw it with the pen tool yourself.
If I need to, yeah.
Yeah. I got into a pattern of doing that for people, but then I just realized how many hours I'm not quick enough at it to make it useful. So I send it out to my guy in India.
He is not be so pernickety about doing it, you know. I was exactly the same when I first started doing it. I'd spend ages trying to follow the lines exactly, but you realize that as long as you're about, I don't know, within a millimeter, 2 millimeters into where you need to be, it doesn't make a great deal of difference.
Yeah.
And you'd find 99.9% of your customers won't even notice.
Yeah.
Or they would have, especially anybody who sends you a JPEG, you know, in my opinion. If you send me a JPEG, you get what you're given at the end of the day.
Yeah.
If I've redrew it for you, then just be grateful.
Yeah. Do you do like proofing with them again, like to show, or like do you have any processes like that?
Yeah, I send proofs out to all my customers with everything I do.
Do they double up as production sheets, Michael?
No, because I generally know what I'm going to do and how I'm going to do it. That's one for the.
Oh, cool. Okay. Yeah.
So I'll put the Pantone colors on.
Yeah.
And just a little visual, and
it's clever doing the sleeves on there as standard, because then it might even upsell that as an option to the customer.
Yeah.
People don't think about that, do they?
Not many people do think about sleeves. A lot. I get asked for quite a lot of sleeves, and a lot of people will be like, "Oh, well, I've had these done elsewhere, but they'll only do one color on a sleeve for me. What's the maximum colors you'll do?" And
why?
I have no idea why people do that. I don't know if you've heard that in the past, but
no,
yeah,
that's really weird, because you can do like, that's really odd.
The people that print is it Rapa Nui on the Isle of Wight, I know they'll only do one color. But yeah, it's weird that there's certain people that won't do more than one color.
Yeah. I wonder what they're scared of. I don't know what they'd be worried about doing. Then another just tangent. Why are you called Evil Band Merch and not just Nice Person Band Merch?
When I first started out, I used to do a lot of stuff for heavy metal bands.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And it was just a kind of, a lot of metal bands would like the fact that I was called Evil Band Merch.
Yeah.
Doesn't quite work so much now, because I'd say about 70% of my work that I do is for indie bands, so it's a bit weird, but it's a bit late to change it now. Yeah.
So like, how are you marketing to these new bands who aren't the people who are like, who've kind of grown up with you? Like, are you finding that you're just sticking to the word of mouth, you're going to gigs and finding out about them?
I don't get to half as many gigs as I used to. But yeah, a lot of it is just word of mouth, which suits me fine.
Seems to be working, because
it is working, which is good, I guess.
Yeah, there's another guy I spoke to on one of the podcasts, Freddie from Master Stitch, and he doesn't even have like a website, and he's just got Instagram. It's crazy.
I don't have Instagram, so my Facebook page, I only opened that last year. And prior to that, the website was only a year before that. I've just never really needed to advertise. I don't know if that's a good thing, but it seems to be working.
Well, it must be a good thing. That's one. This is the like switch I've had recently, and understanding like where other people are getting those people from, because I've looked at my own customer base for like a year, and I know that I can rely on like maybe 60% is return customers. I do get a lot of these new inquiries, but I'm actually just like shutting them down now, because I'd rather work with the repeat customers, because they know how to work with you. You know they're not going to mess you around or like make you do all the quotes and then drop out or anything weird like that. So you know what you're standing.
Yeah, I'd like to. I don't know. So I like having my repeat customers there. You know, it is really, really good. At least I know at least once a month I'm getting a decent supply of money coming in to at least pay for the rent on the building, you know. But at the same time, I do like working with like new people, and I do a lot of stuff with like graphic designers that do like artwork for bands. You know, it's always like it's somebody's brother or someone's cousin, you know, just wants 20 t-shirts.
Yeah.
Rather than have their eyes pulled out somewhere else, spending, they're spending a lot more per t-shirt. I've seen some places charge £11 for one t-shirt on an order of £11 each for an order of 20 t-shirts, and I think that's just greedy for the sake of being greedy, you know.
So like, how do you make these decisions? Like earlier you were saying some jobs you do with discharging and stuff. Are you making those decisions because the person's asking for it, or you know you have to set up less screens, or it's going to be cheaper, or
it depends on the I will, if somebody asks me for a quote for something, I tend to look at how I would print the job. The first thing I ask for when somebody asks me, can you do me some t-shirts? First thing I ask for is the artwork. Before anything else. I don't want to know what color shirts it's on. I don't want to know how many shirts they want. I just want to see the artwork, and I make all my decisions based on how that artwork is, and whether or just how best it's going to work for the customer, rather than thinking about, well, I'll just put that one, do that one with plastisol and be done with it, you know. And I will put it to the customer after I've seen the artwork as to which way I'll print it, and how it would look best. 9 times out of 10, people will go, yeah, that's great. But you get the odd one who'll go, no, I just want plastisol.
Yeah.
And it's like, really? Okay.
Yeah. There you go. But maybe, do you think that's because that's how a lot of the band merch was printed, and that's what they're used to? They want Guild and Heavies with a plastisol print, or?
Yeah, well, maybe. I know back when I was getting into t-shirts, all the t-shirts that I used to buy, you know, from the bands that I liked, it was all water-based.
Oh, really? Yeah.
A lot of it was water-based, or, you know, I've got t-shirts from 1990 that I've got discharge ink on, and the print is still as good as it could ever be, you know. The actual t-shirt's probably fallen apart, but the print itself is great. But yeah, it really depends on, maybe
you're not finding much trend in it then. It's like customer to customer and what you can guide them to.
Yeah, you know, I as I say, I'm loving these new discharge inks from Avian. They're absolutely brilliant. And if I could print everything with that, then, you know, I would. They actually even work on cotton poly blends as well, to an extent.
Have a look.
Yeah, you get quite it's slightly a bit more faded on a poly blend, but it's still pretty crisp compared to any other discharge that you'd see on them, you know.
Have you got any like ways of getting a vivid white discharge ink, or is that just not a thing? Because I know you can't get vivid like plastisol, but like white.
White.
I had white pigment, but it's always a bit creamy on the garments that I'm printing on anyway.
Yeah, that's a white discharge, but that's the Avian one as well. But that is without any pigment in it. That's
Oh,
just a
really?
straight pop.
Mm.
So it is a little creamy still, but it's not
Yeah.
white.
Yeah. You think that's basically the best? Is it? You just accept it because it's so nice to feel and it's really soft and.
Yeah. I found that if you're doing discharge, if you can get away with if you use 2 screens on it to do a first down with discharge and then add a water-based white over the top of it, that's gets you a really, really bright white.
Okay.
I've tried it with using white pigment in it as well, and it tends to just look the same.
Yeah, and I know that's what I was. That's the problem I was having, because I was trying the white out. They've got like the one that's pre-mixed, and then they got, you know, the normal stuff that you can add the pigment to, and I was just like, what's the I'm learning about it as well with Magnacolors, not Avian, but
well,
yeah.
Avian actually bought Magnacolor, so
oh, did it? Oh, is that the same thing then?
it's all the same company now.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, Ray Smith came over to the UK, was really impressed with Magnacolor and offered to buy them.
Oh, okay. There you go. We're talking about the same things then. So you can still buy Avian separate?
Yes. Avian, you can still buy Magnacolor, but as I say, it's all owned by the same. It's all owned by Avian.
So we're thinking like Skoda Volkswagen situation.
Yeah,
all the
pretty
same
much.
Engine, just a different badge. Okay, I understand.
Maybe I need to add a bit more pigment to my my white discharge and see how that comes up, but it tends to just stay quite milky anyway. Unless you do 2 coats of it.
Okay, that's a good tip.
You can probably flash print it as well. Probably it'll come out a bit whiter, but you're going to end up with probably problems with your screens drying in a bit too much. And
exactly, that's super stressful when it's like 30 degrees in here, like on a freak.
To be honest,
day
this Zodiac one is really, really good in the mesh. We find if you spray your screens before you with a bit of water before you print, and
you miss them, like
miss them
pump.
slightly.
Okay.
It tends to not dry in the mesh as quickly, but these ones you get about 45 minutes ish.
That's not bad.
With leaving it, but a nice thick layer of ink over your image to stop it from drying out. That's there's one of my tips.
Thank you.
Nice thick layer.
You're saying 45 minutes. These companies say 45 minutes and stuff, but I've been there with a 6-color water-based thing, and I couldn't get round from 1 to 6. It was like I actually gave up and just did it in pastel.
Right.
Nightmare.
Yeah. But they recommend a 3 to 5 mil coating of the ink over your image.
Yeah, it's like
to stop it from drying out. Just thick layer of ink over the top of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's your tip.
Thank you. Okay, so you do you really do 16 hours of printing a day? That's insane.
Well,
like an early bird. Do you get in there crack of dawn or something?
Yeah, I pretty much started about 8 o'clock every morning, and I'll be here till what we used to call job and knock. So it's depending on what I'm doing. But I can say it just depends on what I'm printing. If I'm doing a multicolour job, something that I used to be able to reg in on an auto in about 4 minutes, takes me a good hour to get it perfect on the manual.
Yeah. Do you see yourself like eventually buying in all that auto kit, or is it just like an affordability thing? Yeah, as soon as you can.
At the moment, it's just this is just another stepping stone, I guess. I've actually just been offered an auto today, but it's a little bit out of my price range.
Yeah, but you probably know how to fix stuff. I don't know why I get that feeling, because you talked about fixing the manual. You'll probably be like, yeah, I'll buy that, and then you'll just do 2 little things and it'll be like new.
Yeah. This manual I've got didn't come with a micro registration on it.
Yeah.
Car's driving around really fast. Yeah, it didn't come with a micro reg on it, and I was looking at buying it from Riley to fit onto the machine, and I think it was about £130 a head, which is quite a bit. So I've started making my own.
Of course, yeah.
It's just a little micro. Cool. It's just rod ends. So yeah, and some little knobs.
Yeah.
The whole lot's cost me 30 quid off Amazon. So
brilliant. You have to show that on the Facebook group when you get it all sussed out.
Yeah. I just need some longer bolts in it, but other than that, it actually works. So
brilliant. That's really cool.
Good. So yeah, always look around and look at how the machines, the more expensive carousels are set up, and then just look around and do it yourself, because it's.
So what does your kind of like darkroom setup look like? Do you have like, what kind of exposure unit have you gone for?
In here, I haven't. I am still using the company that I used to work for.
Oh, right,
to do screens. Cool. I've left there on really good terms, and any of my screens that I need to make, I just go through there and do it. Yeah,
that's really good.
Yeah, they've got a spider and an eco wash, so it's just takes no time at all to get things. The only downside is I don't have any positives for when I'm setting up.
Yeah. How are you doing that then? How are you doing it then without a positive?
I'll just print first down white and then read it in by eye.
God, that's pretty hard. Are you printing the reg marks? Like
no reg marks.
Well, it's like reg marks are too easy. You're literally doing it all by eye from.
All by eye.
Wow. Yeah, that's pretty full on. There must be a few images.
Probably why it's taking me an hour to reg in a job.
Well, at least you're not getting in the way at the other place, because if you had to get your films printed and then traipse them around the factory or whatever it is, that'd be quite annoying. But
generally I'll go in with like 20 screens and go, right, this is what I need doing. And I just crack on for an hour and get it all done. Brilliant. And then leave and come back here and reg it all in.
Oh, get out of it. Yeah. Well, why don't they'll probably want you back if you hang around there too long.
Well, yeah, they were sorry to see me leave, but at the same time, we're still good friends.
Yeah.
I'd worked with some of them for like 4 or 5 years, so
but like segregating in yourself to get a spider and stuff, that's hard, isn't it? Because there's a lot of in between like variations there with like film printers and stuff, which are much cheaper.
Yeah.
So,
even when I used to use positives, I would still reg everything in exactly the same way as I do now. On this, with I would just do the first down first, and then I'd just take a print of the first down and then reg it all in.
Yeah. Suppose if you don't need to do it any other way, then stick with what you know.
Yeah, exactly. Say I love using like a tri-lock system or 4-pin system, because but it takes the fun out of it. It went from being when I first started using autos, where we didn't have tri-locks on them, and then, you know, regging everything in with a positive, you know, it actually made it more of a skilled job.
Yeah.
Now you can, within an hour, you can show somebody how to reg a 8-9 color printing, you know.
Yeah.
Just, and then you're only tweaking like a millimeter here or there, you know.
Yeah. That's what I was talking about, like at the show. It was like there is DCG, DTF, blah blah blah, but it's the craft's gone out of it. You literally need no skill to do DTF and all that. So like, who's there wanting to spend 10 hours a day heat pressing transfers on? It's just dull, isn't it? I know I'm not trying to make it difficult for myself, but I still feel there's a massive place for screen print.
Oh yeah. You know, if I turned around to some of my customers and went, "Oh, I think you should get that done as a transfer," they would just laugh at me. Yeah. No, of course not. So, you know, it's yeah, I wouldn't like to stand there heat pressing all day. You know, there's companies out there that do it. But
do you think you're here for the craft, really? Like you're like, it's kind of like a trade, like a tradesperson.
I'm not. It's not. I'm not even here for the craft anymore. It's just the fact that I just really like doing it. You know, it's my peaceful place, that sort of thing. You know, I don't like being stressed at things. So, you know, come in. It's different, you know, from being in the house with my daughter and she's running around batting me with some swords or something. You know? It's just a lot more peaceful here.
Yeah. Sounds like you've made yourself a really sweet setup. So yeah.
Yeah, it's okay.
You're probably living the dream, like for a lot of people. It's being left alone, doing your thing.
Yeah.
You already know you're good at it, so you can just be happy in what you're producing.
Yeah.
No stress.
Yeah. Tonight I'm printing some shorts.
So. Oh really? Yeah. You're still working after this. I should probably. Yeah. It's because we got our wires mixed.
Yeah, I completely and utterly messed it on my days.
It's okay. I really appreciate you coming on, Michael.
I think the bank holidays kind of messed us up as well. You know,
yeah.
So. I work the bank holiday as well, so
yeah. You kind of use that as an excuse. Now I know that.
Yeah.
But that's really cool. Well, I'm going to see you on Facebook when you show everyone your auto reg, but your micro reg.
Yeah.
System.
It'll be on. Yeah.
Yeah. I really appreciate you coming on and stuff. I think we could probably just wrap it up here if you want.
Yeah, I've got one more thing that I'm about to build actually.
Oh, cool.
Really weird. So my flash dryer is just a, what do you call it? One of those photo flash things.
Yeah.
From Dave Roper. So I bought these weird things, which are like
piston.
It's like an electronic actuator, which I'm going to operate on a foot pedal.
Oh,
and connect it to the back of the flash, and it's going to raise the flash up off the garments every time I'm finished flashing.
Oh, nice.
I've got an absolute nightmare of burning beds.
Yeah.
Burning my paper. So this is my next little mission to do.
Is this a man cave or a business, Michael? I can't tell you. Like,
well,
you know,
I like to make things, you know.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I like to make things easier for myself as well. So hopefully this will give me a lot of time and effort.
Because it sounded like you were going to make it swing out the way.
No, I originally thought about making it going in and out. But I've kind of changed my mind on that, and I've came up with some plans to make it just go up and down instead.
Yeah.
And say it's just to be operated on a foot pedal. So
Yeah.
I'm finished with it, it rises up and it doesn't burn me beds.
It's really clever. Imagine if like the huge manufacturers saw it and they're like, we need to make some of these.
Well, you never know.
Yeah.
You know? I've got to get it to work first though. So yeah.
We shouldn't have told us. You should patent this stuff. Don't put the episode up.
I like to share.
I know you do.
I like to share. Yeah. The Vivo site is my new favorite site. I don't know if you've ever seen that.
No, what's that?
Yeah. It just sells random stuff that you would never think you would need.
Right.
And it's like art, it does like arts and crafts stuff, but it does mechanical stuff, and they sell pin badges. Actually, they're pin badge machines.
Right.
We worked out the badges that I get. I've been getting them. I buy them from America, and the import costs and delivery costs on them is just skyrocketed.
Mm.
So I've worked out that this Vivo company that sell a badge machine with 1,000 badge parts for $63.99.
Wow, that's insane.
Which is absolutely insane.
Like the press and 1,000.
The press and 1,000 badge component
and the markup on it.
Yeah, so it's actually cheaper for me to buy one of them every few weeks to get 1,000 badges than it is to buy the 1,000 badges from America.
So you're just getting all these free presses.
So I'm going to have loads of badge machines. I'm just going to get my daughter to just sit there and make badges for me. And anybody else who wants a badge machine, I might start donating badge machines to people. Yeah. They don't seem to sell the badge bits on their own, but they do sell the machine with 1,000 badges. So
what is it? Vevor?
Yeah, VEVOR.co.uk.
It's so weird that they wouldn't sell just the
yeah, they sell like heat presses for really cheap and flash dryers really cheap as well. So yeah, it's worth checking out. That's how I found the site. I was looking for a flash dryer for a year. As it happened, the one I got gifted from the company that I used to work for. Like,
so basically, you set your studio up for like 200 quid plus the tunnel dryer.
Yeah, I'm about £3,000 into setting it up.
That's not bad, is it?
Not too bad. I've got a screen drying cabinet as well for free, so.
I love this. You're like, yeah, this is so good.
I'm like the steptoe and sons of the screen print world, really. I'll take anything and just make it work.
Yeah. Like that's really funny. Love that. I'm really glad we got to speak to you, Michael. That's really cool. Yeah, got a lot of things to look into now with the inks and the, I don't know, those are bits like the shirts that you like and everything. So
yeah,
I think you'll be a really good resource on that.
I found even over the past 5 or 6 years, if you ask anybody for any kind of help or you need to know about something, nobody's willing to give you any information. Screen printers seem to think it's like a top secret business.
Do you think?
Yeah, like I went down and visited a print shop in Leicester a few months back, and you would have thought it was like someone out of, I don't know, some kind of James Bond movie with like trying to get in the place and to have a look around, and passes, and they've got all the doors locked to the rooms, and you can't see in how they're doing things, They're
like, you wearing a wire?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, but you ask them what kind of inks they're using. Everything's in a clear plastic tub, and you can't see what kind of brand of ink they're using or whatnot. And it's like, well, what are you using? I'm not telling you.
Who would you want to find out about? Like, I could get them on and just grill them, and then they can't get away from the questions.
No one now. I pretty much know what I need to know.
Exactly.
Especially to get me through what I'm doing. So
yeah, you're sorted, aren't you?
Yeah, pretty much.
Go do those shorts because it's going to be like 10 o'clock at night before you get home because
It's
I've
only
taken
like
her.
50 shorts. It'll be all right.
It's probably a 10-minute job for you.
Not really. It's a three color print.
Oh, right, shit.
Yeah, we're the first down. Oh, what was? Do you know with your first downs that you're using? Are you using personally? Do you just use a white?
Like, no, I'm not really using like special underbase whites most of the time, even though I have everything. I'm starting to get into like underbasing with discharge and even doing plasol on top of that, which I really like.
Because I use the Wilflex low cure underbase, which is like a dark gray.
Yeah.
But I reduce it down to within an inch of its life.
Right.
And
Wilflex.
The quality out of it is absolutely outstanding. And
so you're using like the Wilflex reducer with it as well, or can you whack in any reducer?
You can whack in any reducer you want.
Okay, good.
It is expensive for a pot of it. I think it's about 80 quid, 85 quid for a pot of the, like a US gallon of it. But by the time you reduce it down, you're probably getting 15 gallons out of it, you know what I mean? As opposed to
this is probably not an interesting question at all, but when I try and get Wilflex, I've always got to do like invoices and stuff. Is there like a website where you could just buy it and then put it in a cart and get it?
Colenso.
Yeah, but I even have to contact Colenso and be like, this is what I want, and then I get an invoice and I got to pay the invoice. Am I just being impatient?
I just ring them up.
Yeah, you're all right with that. I just like to shop online.
Yeah, they do have dealing with it. They do have. Does not have buy it nows on their site anymore.
Ring them up.
I normally just ring them up and speak to Mark.
Yeah.
And Mark, what have you got for me? What's going to work? What's the best? He's a great guy. Mark Colenso. He does so much research in everything that he sells. And even if you don't, I had somebody ask me the other day about printing, you know, like safety hard hats.
Okay, yeah.
Using like a nylon ink.
Do you have to like open it up with some solvent or something? Like no.
You reduce it down with a solvent, but you also add a hardener.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, it's not something I personally do.
Yeah.
I know how to do it, and I have printed hard hats before. But you need special jigs and whatnot to actually print it. And but I asked Mark about certain inks, and he was like, oh, well, if you want, send us some hard hats and I'll do some tests for you, and I'll put some inks and I'll tell you which one's the best to use, and you know, how to make sure that like the print won't scratch off and all that sort of stuff. And I was like, well, great, cheers. So a week later he came back to us with loads of information, and I was like, right. So, well, I've told this person I'm not doing hard hats, so
thanks. He's been in his lab for like
now I've
week.
got some more information. You know, he's really good like that. But if it was a screen print shop and you were asking them how to do it, they'd be like, nope, not telling you. Nope, not gonna let you know.
Yeah, I don't know if that's like our experience, but maybe it's just because we're like literally being an open access studio and a teaching studio. So if anyone wants to know anything, I'm literally trying to give the information away. Like,
yeah, well,
that's what we do.
That's the way I've been pretty much. I think it's because I'm so invested in screen printing, like, and have been for so many years, that I feel like everybody else should know how to screen print.
Yeah.
So, you know, how my wife puts up with me is just beyond me for the amount of dribble I come out with about screen printing all the time. You know, she's like, I don't care.
You should. This is my whole vacation.
Exactly.
Awesome. Thank you, Michael.
Amazing.
Yeah. Thank you for coming on. And I'll ask you more questions in our DMs now that I know you're such a good resource for all this stuff.
Yeah,
You're happy
well,
to let us
if you
know.
need to know anything, and if I know it, if I don't know it, I know enough. I've got enough contacts these days to find out, you know.
Yeah. Or you'll just make it. You'll just make something that works.
Yeah, I'll just come up with something.
Brilliant. Okay. Well, I hope you get on okay with your job.
I will do.
I'll see you soon. Thank you.
Okay, no worries. Catch you later.
Cheers, Michael.
Right,
Bye.
bye.